Good morning, everyone. We've all been there. You know those moments when everything feels like it's too much, when life seems to drag us into places we don't want to be, and we're stuck knee-deep in the mud. I want to talk about those moments today, those times when we feel paralyzed by our struggles, unable to move forward. Sometimes life gets messy, unpredictable, and hard to navigate. We find ourselves in moments where the road seems blocked, and it feels like we can't move forward. It's as if we're caught in the mud, unable to move, trapped by circumstances, emotions, or even our own self-doubt. We've all been there, stuck in a place we don't want to be, unsure of how to take the next step, and overwhelmed by the uncertainty that surrounds us. It's natural to feel lost during these times, but it's also important to realize that these messy moments are a part of life, not the end of it. In those moments when we feel like we're stuck, there's an instinctive desire to push through, to find a way to escape the discomfort and return to a state of normalcy. However, it's often the case that our greatest growth doesn't come from neatly walking around difficulties, but rather from moving through them, even if it's in a way that feels chaotic and uncomfortable. Life isn't always smooth sailing, and we can't always control the circumstances that cause us to feel stuck. Whether it's facing personal challenges, professional setbacks, or simply the internal struggle of navigating our emotions, these moments are part of the human experience. When we find ourselves in these difficult situations, we often want to fix them quickly and move on. We search for the magic formula, the shortcut, or the easy answer. We tell ourselves that the goal is to avoid the mud, to sidestep the hard parts of life. But this thinking can prevent us from fully experiencing the lessons that come with being stuck. Sometimes we need to be in the mud deep in it before we can figure out how to pull ourselves out. It's in these moments that we often have the opportunity to learn things about ourselves we might not otherwise know. We may discover strengths we didn't realize we had, new perspectives that help us grow, and a deeper understanding of who we are and what we want in life. We're so used to seeing life in terms of success and failure, of forward movement and regress, that we overlook the space in between. But the space in between the moments of being stuck are essential. They offer us a chance to pause, reflect, and reset. In the rush to get ahead, we often forget the importance of these pauses. We may feel frustrated or discouraged by them, but they are not failures. Instead, they are opportunities to take a step back, reassess our situation, and figure out where we truly want to go. It's not easy to embrace the messiness of life, especially when we're stuck. We want to fix things to regain control and to get back to a place of comfort. But sometimes the mess is exactly where we need to be. It's in the mud that we can begin to untangle the complexity of our lives and eventually find a path forward. It's okay to admit that you're stuck. In a world that often celebrates productivity, progress, and success, we sometimes feel like we need to hide our struggles, especially when we don't have all the answers. There's this societal pressure to keep moving, to act like everything is fine, and to never let anyone see the cracks in our armor. But the truth is, acknowledging that you're stuck is not a sign of weakness, it's actually the first step toward growth. Until we accept where we are and face the reality of our situation, we can't begin to figure out how to get out of it. When we deny that we're stuck, we run the risk of prolonging our suffering. We may try to push through without truly addressing the core issue, or we might distract ourselves with temporary fixes that only offer relief in the short term. But in the long run, pretending we're not stuck keeps us trapped in the same place. We're afraid that if we admit we're stuck, it will somehow diminish us, make us seem incapable or unworthy. But vulnerability is far more powerful than we often realize. When we open ourselves up to the reality of our situation, when we allow ourselves to be honest about our struggles, we give ourselves the permission to heal, to change, and to move forward. Admitting that we're stuck is an act of self-compassion. It's about giving ourselves the grace to say, this is where I am right now, and that's okay. It's also a powerful way to take ownership of our own journey. We can't move forward until we stop pretending that we're fine when we're not. Life doesn't always have a clear path, and sometimes we're not sure how to move forward, but that's not something to be ashamed of. In fact, it's something that connects all of us. We all get stuck at different points in our lives, whether it's in a relationship, a job, personal goal, or just life in general. We all face moments when the way forward feels unclear. By allowing ourselves to acknowledge when we're stuck, we also open the door to finding the solutions we need. This may involve asking for help, changing our perspective, or even accepting that we don't have all the answers right now. The important thing is that we stop running from the truth and instead face it head on. It may not be easy and it may take time, but admitting we're stuck is the beginning of transformation. It's the first step to breaking free, because once we accept where we are, we can start to figure out where we want to go next and what we need to do to get there. The truth is, we don't have to have everything figured out all at once, but we do need to acknowledge where we are in order to make real progress. The struggle is uncomfortable, but it's also where transformation happens. Often we view challenges, setbacks, and difficult moments as roadblocks, as things we need to get through as quickly as possible. But what if we shifted our perspective and saw these struggles not as obstacles, but as opportunities? It's easy to believe that growth should come effortlessly, that the path to success should be linear and smooth. However, the reality is that most of our most meaningful growth happens when we're facing challenges. When we're stuck in the mud, uncertain and unsure, we are given the chance to discover something deeper about ourselves. Growth isn't about avoiding struggle, it's about embracing it. The truth is that no one grows without facing discomfort. When we push through difficult moments, whether it's in our personal lives, our careers, or our emotional journeys, we learn how strong we really are. We begin to build resilience, not by avoiding the storm, but by weathering it. It's easy to underestimate the power of struggle because we often associate difficulty with failure. But struggle doesn't mean we're failing. It means we're evolving. It means we're actively engaging with life, not retreating from it. During times of struggle, we are forced to reevaluate what we truly want and what we truly need. It's in the discomfort that we are able to ask ourselves the tough questions we might have avoided or overlooked in easier times. What's truly important to me? What am I willing to fight for? How do I want to show up in the world? These questions help us get to the heart of what matters most. And in that process, we start to shed old layers of our self-beliefs, habits, and fears that no longer serve us. We shed the weight of perfectionism and the need for approval, and we begin to step into our authentic selves. There's also a deep sense of power in knowing that we can handle struggle. When we face difficult situations head on, we realize that we are capable of more than we thought. We can navigate the mess, and we can come out stronger on the other side. The experience of struggle teaches us how to trust ourselves, to believe that we have the inner resources to handle whatever comes our way. It's easy to feel defeated when we're stuck, but the reality is that we are much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. Struggle is not something to be feared, it's something to be understood. It doesn't define us, it refines us. When we embrace the discomfort of being stuck, we open the door to growth. We allow ourselves to evolve, to build strength, and to discover new layers of our potential. The struggle, while tough, is where the transformation takes place. And it's through these challenging times that we ultimately find out who we are and what we're truly made of. We often resist being stuck, wanting to escape or fix things immediately. But sometimes letting go of control and accepting the situation helps us find the clarity we need to move forward. In our fast-paced world, where immediate results are valued and instant solutions are expected, being stuck feels like a failure. We believe that the only way to succeed is through constant action, constant forward momentum. But in reality, trying to force a solution when we're not ready often leads to frustration, burnout, and confusion. Sometimes the most important thing we can do when we're stuck is to pause, step back, and allow ourselves the space to simply be. Letting go of control can feel like surrendering to the situation. It may seem counterintuitive, as we are often taught to take charge and fix problems as quickly as possible. However, the act of letting go doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to failure. It means releasing the need to dictate every step of the process. It's about accepting that there are things outside our control, and that's okay. Control is an illusion in many ways. No matter how much we plan, how hard we try, there will always be variables beyond our influence, whether it's the timing of events, the actions of others, or unexpected challenges that arise. By letting go of the need to control everything, we free ourselves from the pressure to have all the answers right away. In this space of letting go, clarity often emerges. When we stop struggling and give ourselves permission to sit in the discomfort of being stuck, we allow our minds and hearts to settle. It's in this quieter, more receptive state that we begin to see things differently. Solutions may surface, new perspectives may open up, and we may find a sense of peace that wasn't available when we were pushing against the situation. The truth is, sometimes we can't see the way forward because we're too focused on the problem or the obstacles in front of us. But when we let go, we make room for the clarity that can guide us. This process also requires patience. We must trust that even in moments of stillness, progress is being made. Waiting doesn't mean we are stuck forever. It simply means we are in a process of reflection and recalibration. It's during these moments of pause that we learn the importance of patience, not just with the situation, but with ourselves. It's okay to not have all the answers right now. Sometimes we need to let things unfold in their own time, trusting that the next step will become clear when the moment is right. Ultimately, letting go of control and accepting where we are doesn't mean we're giving up. It means we're allowing ourselves to be in a space of growth and possibility, even when the way forward isn't immediately apparent. In this space of surrender, we give ourselves the grace to be human and the trust that eventually the way forward will reveal itself. The process of getting unstuck takes time. It's okay to not have all the answers right away. Patience with yourself is essential during these challenging periods. In a world that often values quick fixes and immediate results, it can be incredibly difficult to accept that some solutions take time. We live in an era where instant gratification is the norm, whether it's in our personal lives, our work, or the way we engage with technology. We expect quick answers and rapid progress, and when things don't unfold as quickly as we'd like, it's easy to feel frustrated or inadequate. But growth, healing, and moving forward don't happen overnight. In fact, the most meaningful transformations in life often take place gradually, and they require a great deal of patience with the process and with ourselves. When we're stuck, the first instinct is often to find a way out as quickly as possible. We may push ourselves to move faster to force a solution or to keep up appearances that everything is fine. But rushing through difficult times rarely leads to lasting results. Instead, it often leaves us feeling even more drained and disconnected. The truth is, the process of getting unstuck is not linear. It doesn't happen in a straight line, nor does it unfold according to any set timetable. There are ups and downs, moments of progress, and moments of regression. This uncertainty can be unsettling, but it's a natural part of the journey. Patience is not just about waiting, it's about accepting that things are unfolding at their own pace. It's about understanding that there's no need to rush through the discomfort or the uncertainty. In fact, trying to hurry through these phases can actually prevent us from learning the lessons we need to learn. Sometimes we need to sit with our discomfort, reflect on our experiences, and allow our emotions and thoughts to process fully. By doing so, we open ourselves up to the possibility of growth and healing that might have been missed if we tried to skip over the hard parts. Being patient with ourselves means allowing space for mistakes and setbacks without self-judgment. It means recognizing that it's okay to not have everything figured out at once. When we are stuck, it's easy to be critical of ourselves, to feel like we should have already moved forward or figured out the next step. But progress is not always measured by how quickly we get to the end. It's about how we engage with the process itself. Giving ourselves permission to move slowly, to reflect, and to be imperfect is a form of self-compassion that allows us to keep going .ear. So when you're stuck, remember that it's okay to take your time. The answers will come, and the steps forward will reveal themselves when the time is right. Patience is not passive. Patience doesn't mean complacency. It means giving ourselves the time we need to find clarity, to process our emotions, and to gather the strength we need to move forward. It's about trusting that with time, the way forward will become is an active form of trust in the process and in yourself. We are rarely stuck alone. Surrounding ourselves with people who understand our struggles and offer a hand in times of need is vital for our growth and recovery. During difficult times, when we feel isolated and trapped in our own challenges, it can be easy to believe that no one understands what we're going through. We may feel like we're the only ones struggling, and this sense of isolation can intensify our feelings of being stuck. However, the truth is that we are never truly alone in our struggles, even if it may feel that way. Everyone experiences moments of difficulty, and sharing our burdens with others can provide the support, comfort, and encouragement we need to find our way out of the mud. The act of reaching out, of connecting with others, is not a sign of weakness. It is an essential part of the human experience. We are wired for connection, and when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable with those who care about us, we create a space for empathy, understanding, and support. Whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague, having someone to lean on during tough times can provide a sense of reassurance that we're not alone. Sometimes simply knowing that someone is there to listen or offer guidance can make all the difference in how we navigate through difficult moments. Additionally, the people we surround ourselves with often play a significant role in helping us gain perspective. When we're stuck, we can become so focused on the problem at hand that we lose sight of the bigger picture. A trusted friend or mentor can offer insights that we might not have considered, helping us to see things from a different angle and find new solutions. They may also remind us of our strengths, the progress we've made, and the resilience we've demonstrated in the past. This outside perspective can provide the clarity and encouragement we need to keep moving forward. However, it's not just about having others help us through difficult times. The act of supporting others also plays a vital role in our own healing. When we offer a listening ear or lend a hand to someone else who is struggling, we not only help them, but we also reinforce our own sense of purpose and connection. Helping others can create a sense of solidarity and remind us that we are all in this together. It's a reminder that, even in the darkest of times, we can still bring light to others, and that in doing so, we also find light for ourselves. Ultimately, the people we surround ourselves with, those who understand, who listen, and who offer support, are essential for our growth and recovery. We were never meant to navigate life's challenges alone, and by allowing ourselves to lean on others, we strengthen our resilience and our ability to overcome obstacles. In times of struggle, remember that reaching out is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength and courage. It's through our connections with others that we truly begin to heal and find our way out of the mud. When we're stuck in a difficult situation, it can feel like there is no way out, and that feeling of being trapped can be overwhelming. But the reality is that being stuck is often temporary, and with time and patience, we begin to see that there are always options, though they may not always be immediately clear. Our minds, when overwhelmed by the weight of a problem, can become clouded, making it difficult to see potential solutions or pathways forward. In these moments, it's important to remember that stuckness is not a permanent state, and just because we can't see a way forward right now doesn't mean one doesn't exist. Sometimes we get so fixated on finding the right answer or the perfect solution that we overlook the smaller steps or different approaches that may ultimately let us out of our stuckness. The path forward isn't always going to be obvious or direct, and it might require us to take a few detours or try different things before we find what works. But that's okay. Getting unstuck doesn't always mean that we're going to find a dramatic, immediate breakthrough. Instead, it often comes from taking small, intentional actions that accumulate over time. Even when the path is unclear, moving forward in any way, no matter how small, helps us create momentum and clarity. One of the key things to remember when we feel stuck is that it's not about rushing to find a solution. It's about being open to possibilities. Sometimes the answer to our problems isn't the one we imagined at first, and by allowing ourselves to stay open to different ideas or perspectives, we can create room for new solutions to emerge. By releasing the pressure to have it all figured out, we free ourselves to explore and experiment with different approaches, many of which can lead us to the breakthrough we've been searching for. Flexibility and an openness to trial and error are key components in finding the way forward. Every experience, especially the tough ones, holds valuable lessons that can shape us in ways we might not initially understand. The difficult moments, the ones where we feel stuck, confused, or lost, are often the very experiences that provide us with the wisdom and understanding we need to grow. At the time, it's hard to see beyond the struggle. We may feel overwhelmed by our emotions or frustrated by our lack of progress. But over time, as we reflect on those moments, we begin to uncover the lessons they impart, and we realize that those very struggles helped us become more resilient, more compassionate, and more equipped to face future challenges. In the midst of being stuck, it can be easy to get caught up in a sense of defeat or failure. We might start questioning our abilities or wonder why things aren't working out as planned. But what if we reframe those moments as opportunities for learning rather than as setbacks? Every time we face a difficulty, we are given a chance to reflect on who we are, what we value, and how we respond to adversity. The lessons we learn during these moments are not always immediately obvious, but they become clearer as time passes. For instance, one of the lessons we often learn when we feel stuck is the importance of patience. When life is moving slowly, or when we can't see the way forward, we're forced to slow down. This teaches us to be patient with ourselves and with the process. In a society that rewards speed and productivity, learning to embrace stillness can be transformative. The lesson of patience is not only about waiting for things to change, but about trusting that things are happening in their own time, even when we can't see the full picture. Another lesson we learn through difficult moments is the value of flexibility. We often enter a challenging situation with a fixed idea of how things should go. But when we encounter obstacles or setbacks, we're reminded that life doesn't always go according to plan. We are forced to adapt, to be open to change, and to consider new approaches. This ability to adapt to changing circumstances is a vital skill in both our personal and professional lives. The lesson of flexibility teaches us that while we can't control everything, we can control how we respond, and we can always choose to adjust our course. Sometimes the solution to getting unstuck doesn't come from any external action or grand revelation. It comes from simply changing how we perceive the situation. When we're stuck, it's easy to get consumed by our emotions and our thoughts, which can lead us to feel like there's no way out. We can get trapped in our own negativity, focusing on the problem so much that we fail to see any potential solutions. But if we change our perspective, we often find that the way forward was there all along, waiting for us to notice it. Shifting our mindset is one of the most powerful tools we have when faced with a difficult situation. By changing the way we view the problem or our current state, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. Instead of seeing being stuck as a failure or something to be ashamed of, we can choose to see it as a moment of pause and opportunity to reflect, reassess, and reframe the situation. In these moments, the problem is not something that defines us, but something we can work through and learn from. This shift in perspective allows us to step outside the emotions of the moment and approach the challenge with more clarity and less self-judgment. The way we view challenges also determines how we respond to them. If we see a setback as something insurmountable, we're less likely to take proactive steps to resolve it. But when we reframe the situation as something that can be navigated, even with small steps, we empower ourselves to take action. In essence, we start to view ourselves not as victims of circumstance, but as active participants in our own journey, capable of making decisions that can lead to progress. This sense of agency is crucial to overcoming any obstacle. Changing our perspective also helps us embrace uncertainty. When we're stuck, we often want immediate answers, but sometimes the answers don't come right away. If we can reframe uncertainty as a part of the process, rather than something to fear or avoid, we can learn to sit with it. This doesn't mean we're comfortable with uncertainty, but rather that we accept it as a natural part of growth. In fact, it's in the moments of uncertainty that we often make the most meaningful discoveries about ourselves and the world around us. Moreover, when we shift our perspective, we may realize that the stuck feeling is not permanent. It's a phase, a moment in time that will eventually pass. This realization can bring us peace, knowing that change is coming, even if we can't predict exactly when or how it will unfold. It can also reduce the anxiety that often accompanies feeling stuck, because we know that this too shall pass and will come out on the other side stronger and wiser. Ultimately, the way we choose to perceive being stuck can greatly influence how we navigate it. By reframing the situation, we empower ourselves to take control of our response, foster hope, and remain open to the possibility that the solution is already within our reach, even if it's not immediately visible. Changing our perspective transforms the challenge from something that holds us back into something that can propel us forward. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come after we've hit rock bottom, and what feels like the lowest point can actually be the beginning of a new chapter. When we are stuck, it often feels as though we are trapped in an unending cycle of frustration and helplessness. We may question ourselves and wonder if we'll ever get out. However, hitting that bottom isn't always the end. It can serve as a turning point, a catalyst for change. It is in these moments of deep struggle that we are often forced to reconsider our path, reevaluate our goals, and reset our priorities, ultimately setting us on a new trajectory. The feeling of being stuck can lead to profound personal transformation. When things are going smoothly, it's easy to become complacent, to glide through life without much introspection. But when we are faced with significant challenges, we're forced to confront our weaknesses, our fears, and our assumptions about what's possible. This discomfort can be unsettling, but it also provides the space for growth. It's during these times that we can begin to ask deeper questions about who we are, what we really want, and what we need to change in order to move forward. Often we find that hitting rock bottom is the moment we finally let go of things that no longer serve us. When everything else seems to be falling apart, we realize that we've been holding on to things, whether it's outdated beliefs, toxic relationships, or habits that no longer align with who we are that were keeping us stuck. Hitting that lowest point forces us to confront these aspects of our lives, and in doing so, we free ourselves from them. This can be a liberating experience, even though it's often painful at first. Once we've let go of the old and made space for the new, we often find that the possibilities ahead of us are broader than we imagined. It's like clearing away the clutter in a room. Suddenly, the space feels open and full of potential. We begin to see opportunities that were previously hidden by our own resistance to change. The road ahead might not be easy, but it is one that is filled with new chances for growth, connection, and self-discovery. What we view as the lowest point often ends up being the most fertile ground for reinvention. In these moments, we have the chance to reset, redefine ourselves, and chart a new course. This doesn't mean that the journey won't be difficult or that we won't face more challenges along the way. But it does mean that, having reached the bottom, we are now in a position to rise. It's a reminder that every setback, no matter how devastating it may seem at the time, is ultimately temporary. From the lowest point, we have the potential to rebuild stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who we are meant to be. In conclusion, being stuck is not a permanent state, nor is it something to fear or avoid. It is simply a part of the journey, a moment that offers us the chance to pause, reflect, and grow. While it may feel frustrating or discouraging at first, it often leads to valuable lessons about patience, flexibility, self-compassion, and the power of connection. As we face these moments, we can choose to see them as opportunities for learning and transformation, embracing the discomfort instead of resisting it. By shifting our perspective and trusting that solutions will come in time, we unlock the potential to move forward, stronger and wiser than before. Getting stuck may seem like an obstacle, but in reality, it can be the catalyst for profound personal growth and the key to discovering new possibilities. So when you find yourself in the mud, remember it is not the end. It is simply the beginning of a new chapter, one that holds the promise of renewal and the opportunity to rise again. So if you're stuck in the mud right now, take heart. You are not stuck forever. You are simply in a moment of transformation. The mud is messy, but it's where the magic happens. You will get through this, and you will come out on the other side more resilient than ever. Thank you.